we mute this here so that we don't hear the echo, this computer? Mute it? Oh, I think the volume's down. Is that better? Yeah.
Beatrice, can you hear me?
Yes, Colleen, hi.
Hi, I'm at the hospital, just to let you go, in case I'm in and out.
All right, tell us when you're ready. Ready? Good evening, everyone. It is November 16th, 2023, and the time is 7:15. Welcome, everyone. Let's get right into it. Good evening to our board members and our District 12 neighbors. Thank you for taking the time to be here with us today. And so I want to take this time to highlight I have a few announcements. One of them is to highlight the Fair Share report that was put out on November 9th by the Office of the Comptroller. This report emphasizes that the Fair Share system is not working as intended and is failing to provide even the basic level of transparency required by city charter. And as we all know, this board can attest to that. These are some excerpts that I took directly from that report, and I'll be brief. The city is presented with the messy and complicated challenge of deciding where and how to site municipal infrastructure and services in the face of practical constraints, e.g. limited agency budgets, zoning regulations, and finite space, and in many cases, community opposition. Too often, those constraints reinforce inequality in our city, and wealthier neighborhoods are less likely to see heavy concentrations of unwelcomed, quote unquote, facilities like shelters and waste transfer stations, and more likely to be well served by welcomed amenities like park and green spaces. Recognizing the city's disproportionate siting of undesirable facilities in low-income communities of color, such as ours, the 1989 New York City Charter Revision Commission proposed a process to confront this challenge, naming it Fair Share. Fair Share created a structured framework for citing city facilities in pursuit of distributional fairness. The city's Fair Share process is grounded in principles of both fairness and solidarity. It suggests that every community has both a right to fair share of services, getting its fair share, and a social and moral obligation to help meet our city's collective needs by doing its fair share. Adopted in this 1989 charter revision, Fair Share required the city to make a concerted effort to ensure that communities are both getting their fair share of amenities like parks and libraries and doing their fair share to confront and help solve citywide problems like homelessness. To address the real-life challenges that agencies face in citing critical infrastructure, the Charter Revision Commission designed Fair Share to focus on public process and transparency. There are no rigid standards for what fairness means exactly, but rather a series of analysis and disclosures that agencies are required to produce when they cite or expand a long list of municipal facilities and services. The Charter Revision Commission hoped that by bringing light to where and how those facilities are cited, communities and decision makers would be armed with the data and information they need to distribute them more fairly over time. Unfortunately, more than 30 years later, Fair Share has failed even at the first step of bringing the public transparency envisioned by the Charter Revision Commission to the city's facility citing process. These are some key findings. An audit by the Comptroller's Office revealed that critical data on the capacity and concentration of existing city facilities are unavailable to the public and agency decision makers. When citing new facilities, the city often fails to produce its mandated analysis of neighborhood impact altogether. The bed to population ratio has not been updated in nearly a decade, and requirements to refrain from citing residential facilities in areas with a high BTP, bed to population ratio, have been wholly ignored. Analysis of city facility concentration. The Comptroller's Office geospatial analysis finds that 3 facility types, which are childcare, early childhood education facilities, fire stations, and police precincts are generally distributed fairly. 4 facility types, parks, waste transfer sites, homeless shelters, including sanctuary sites, and humanitarian emergency response and relief centers, and social services, including mental health centers and substance use disorder treatment facilities, are distributed unfairly. When facilities are cited unfairly, the burdens and the benefits of those city facilities are unevenly distributed, exacerbating racial and economic disparities. I encourage you to take the time to read this report. If interested, I can throw it in the chat, the link. I hope this inspires you all to stay engaged and a proactive member of this board. We have many battles ahead of us, but I firmly believe that together we will create the change we want to see established within this district. Lastly, our December board meeting will be held on Thursday, December 14th. And that same day, we will be taking a vote on the City of Yes Economic Opportunity Tax Amendment. We will need a quorum, therefore, your attendance is of utmost importance on that day. Prior to that, on Monday, December 11th, the Land Use Committee will meet to discuss the said text amendment. Please make sure you participate so that you can be fully informed prior to the vote. Thank you. And with that, we're going to move on to the next section of our agenda, which is our public gallery. Do we have anyone that would like to speak on the public gallery? Great. First, we have Richard. Okay. Welcome.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Jenny Rivera. I'm representing Vertex Outpatient Program. We're currently located at 1080 East Gun Hill Road. Forgive me, I'm a little nervous. I haven't done this in quite a while. I have a brief presentation to discuss what the reason why we're here tonight. And again, good evening, Chair. Thank you so much, and Board of Directors. Vertex is a certified minority woman business, enterprise business in New York City, and has been in New York State. And it has been a New York State Office of Addiction Services and Support OASIS licensed outpatient addictions provider since 2006, over 17 years. We have had the designation to be one of the first addiction programs in the city of New York as an approved telehealth provider, particularly during the COVID pandemic in the city of New York. As part of our commitment to our communities, we also realized the importance of recruiting, hiring, and retaining top addiction professionals. In 2021, Vertex launched the Vertex Training Center. We became an educational training provider with the state of New York, and we're nationally recognized as an educational provider with the National Association of Alcohol and Drug Abuse Counselors Association, a national education training provider. We provide a hybrid education curriculum for individuals entering the field of addictions, as well as those professionals who are seeking professional development training and continuing education units. Vertex is an outpatient program, and it includes individual, group, and family counseling services. Additional support services include case management, vocational counseling, and referrals. We partner with multiple agencies throughout the city of New York, such as the Administration for Children's Services, Bronx Family, Criminal Court, New York City Probation, and New York State Parole, Department of Transportation, Department of Homeless Services, and other city and state agencies. We have an extended partnership with other nonprofits organizations throughout the Bronx, such as Bronx Works, and we collaborate with multiple hospitals such as St. Barnabas, Montefiore, and Lincoln. We are located at 1080 East Gun Hill Road, easily accessible by MTA, the 5 train, and multiple city bus lines, such as the 61, Bronx 28, Bronx 38, and Bronx 8. Since our inception in 2006, Vertex has provided outpatient addiction services to thousands of individuals and families, and of course, friends. Below is a brief synopsis of patients served in the following zip codes with at least within the last 2 years. I will be sending this over to the board later on tonight so that everyone can have access to the table that I have here, which is right here. Additionally, we have been serving, my apologies, in less than 10% annually. Approximately 30% of our services are attended by family members, which is extremely important during the recovery process. The success rate is based on the length of the individual's treatment. Our program runs 12 months long, strong collaboration and network of support services for our patients, which includes external support services such as NA or NA groups, which is the core function of any addiction program. We accept all types of insurance, Medicaid, managed care, private, and of course, self-pay. Despite our network of community partners, particularly after the COVID pandemic, we find the need for mental health, and that's the reason why we're here tonight. Services has grown dramatically. The wait list at times, particularly for psychiatric evaluations, can be up to 3 months, sometimes even longer if we're talking about someone that speaks a second language. We understand that mental health and addiction counseling can help our patients who are struggling not only with substance abuse disorders, but are displaying various mental health issues. The combined approach can involve different forms of therapy, such as cognitive behavioral therapy, family counseling, and psychotherapy that is aimed to help people change their thoughts, feelings, and behaviors related to substance use and mental health. Counseling can also provide support, education, coping skills to help our patients recover, but more importantly, to prevent relapse. With that said, diagnosis and treating co-occurring disorders can be challenging, and some symptoms may overlap or mask each other. Therefore, it is essential to find qualified mental health providers and clinicians who can conduct comprehensive assessments and tailor the treatment plan to the individual's specific needs. We must also follow and meet regulatory standards and licensing requirements. At the beginning of this year, Vertex took a well-thought-out decision to apply for a mental health license. We are actively working on an application with the New York State Office of Mental Health to obtain approval as a licensed mental health facility located in the north section of the Bronx. That means that we'll be able to provide mental health services to a wider population and be recognized as a licensed facility. We are committed to improving the mental health of our families and our community at large. We believe that obtaining a mental health license is a crucial step in achieving this goal. Earlier this year, Vertex made a deliberate decision to apply for this license, and we're currently working with them to seek the approval and your support. Our goal is to not only improve our current program services, but also to reduce the wait time that so many individuals and their families are experiencing, and so that they can access mental health services quicker. Our goal is not only to enhance our current program, but also to reduce the wait list so that individuals and their families can access mental health services promptly. This license will enable us to provide more diverse services such as therapy, counseling, and other mental health treatment to those in need. We stand before you tonight in support and guidance as we embark in this critical journey. We aim to work collaboratively, obviously, with this community board towards a shared vision and benefit the community. We understand the value of your insight, and we appreciate your support and expertise, and we also are committed to listening and incorporating your feedback into our plans. Working together, we believe that we can create a positive change and make a lasting impact in this community. Thank you. We appreciate your time.
Thank you so much. And just for the board members to know, they are invited to come back and present to the board in January at our January board meeting. It is important that they do provide us information beforehand so that we can all do our own research, due diligence, and ask the appropriate questions. So we hope you'll be back in January.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Absolutely. Have a good night.
Next, we have Gloria Morris.
Hello. I just want to talk about White Plains Road. Is it so dirty and nasty? Why the city stopped sweeping the street? I've been across the street for 39 years, and you all used to sweep the street, and then they stopped sweeping the street. This outside there so nasty and dirty. You know, it's ridiculous. And another thing I want to talk about is the angling parking, which is ridiculous. Nobody can drop anybody off or pick anybody up because of the angled parking. So those are my two concerns. The street cleaning.
Thank you so much. George, did you want to say anything?
Good evening, everyone. We are aware of the conditions on White Plains Road. We've been talking with all our partners. Quite frankly, I don't know that it gets better. The mayor just released budget cuts that reduce the number of litter pickups and is going to cut services. So I don't have good news on that, and I do apologize, but that's where we're at right now.
Thank you. Next, we have Shantae Albright.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Shantae Albright. Sorry, I'm a little nervous. My name is Shantae Albright. I'm the library manager for the Wakefield Library, right down the block, 4100 Lower Place. I just want to promote a program that we have in tomorrow, so I'll be brief. We have partnered up with the Civic Engagement Commission. So tomorrow, Friday, November 17th at 2 p.m., we're going to have the People's Money program at our location. So basically, this program is community idea generation session to help you identify community needs and brainstorm ideas for expense projects for the community. So this is an opportunity for everyone, if they want to come and participate in the program, share your ideas. Like maybe, you want to have a health program, after school program, something that basically the community needs, and you'll get funded for it once, if it gets voted, it gets funded. So we're gonna have it at Wakefield tomorrow, and refreshments and giveaways will be provided during the program. And I'll leave flyers in the front if anybody wants a copy of the flyer. Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
I just want to say thank Shantae. Actually, I saw the Libraries and Cultural Affairs Committee meeting. I know that you provided some technical assistance, so thank you for that. And I just recalled one of our board members actually brought to a request to meet with DSNY. So we are working on that, and hopefully we'll be able to get that done in the near future.
Gloria, that was for you, that comment. Next up, we have Andy King.
Good evening, peace and blessings to everyone. Just want to say hello and thank you to each and every one of you for spending your time and volunteering and making sure Community Board 12 is strong and great. So I want to say thank you, Madam Chair. I want to thank you, George, and to the whole team. It's good to see consistent face. That means consistent things get done. So thank you all. I had a few announcements I wanted to share with you. I was waiting for one of the brothers, but I don't think he's going to make it in time. One of the things that we know about White Plains Road on any given day, it can be a little unsafe, especially down this strip over the decades. So on an effort to make sure that men do what they can do in this neighborhood, the Nation of Islam Mosque number 7 has opened up across the street on every Thursday, 7 p.m., and having meetings to help young men get their lives together. Take walks from 233rd all the way down to 225th Street. We've been asked to go down east to 221st Street because we know we have an influx of new residents who have joined us, but being able to get them better to engage other than just hanging out or doing some other savory things that make some of our women in our communities feel a little uncomfortable. So that's what we'll be doing. So if you know any brothers that just need a little guidance as well, right across the street where Bronx Drinks and Dining, right across the street every Thursday at 7. Meeting starts at 7:30. Next, I want to share that many of you know the work that we've done with the young people, the Bronx Youth Empowerment Program, going into our 19th year, celebrating and organizing kids to do a lot of community work. Interesting enough that you just shared about the parallel parking and the cleaning. We did set up something as a councilman. We had something called Operation Cleaner Streets, where we pull kids, neighborhoods to come together and with the Department of Sanitation and tackle part of the neighborhood. Ironically, for the month of December, they chose to come up and clean this strip that was just suggested. So we'll be working with the Department of Sanitation. As we say, no one keeps your house clean like you keep your neighborhood clean. So the students want to do their part in making sure that their neighborhood they live stays clean. And lastly, on this Saturday, they are going to be recognized at the Seventh-day Adventist Church for their community work. So I was asked to share it with you also on the Sabbath. If you are free Saturday, the Seventh-day North Bronx Seventh-day Adventist Church on East 218th Street. Come break bread. There'll be food, there'll be meals, and prayers, and all we need that together. And I will end with this. We are bringing back the 12th District Ball that we've done over the years in the past, where we've had guests such as Shalimar Howard Hewitt, as well as the Manhattans, and as well as Atlantic Star. This year we're celebrating 50 years of hip hop, so that is January 1st at the Eastwood Manor. You're all invited to be a part of that night. If you are interested, the email address is 12districtball@gmail. 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 With that being said, congratulations, season 3, and keep on doing the wonderful work that you all doing. And thank you again, and have a good night. Oh, that was it.
Hi, thank you. Is there anyone online or virtual connects that would like the floor for public gallery session? Going once. I don't see any hands up. Okay, that concludes our public gallery session. We're going to move on to the next part of the agenda, which is a presentation by Mary Martinez from the Montefiore Lead Prevention and Treatment Program. Is she here?
Yeah, well, I'm on the phone because I couldn't get to the computer.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. Hi, everybody. I am Mary Martinez, and I'm with the Lead Poisoning Prevention and Treatment Program at Montefiore Medical Center, the campus that's on East 210th Street. I just wanted to take a couple of minutes and tell you about our program. And here at Monty, we're part of the pediatrics department and a small division called environmental sciences. And what we have is we have a clinic. It's a small clinic. It's only half a day every week. And in that clinic, we see lead poisoned children and lead poisoned pregnant women. Our team in the clinic, we're just 4 people. We have Dr. Maureen Markowitz, who's our director, Joanne Mercedes, who's our pediatric nurse practitioner, and our social worker is Olga App-Dudfield. And I do the environmental follow-up with all the families. And we collaborate with, of course, the Department of Health downtown. At our program, the children come to us and the pregnant moms come to us when their doctors have already done a blood test for lead. So the children get sent to us by their pediatricians, and the obstetricians send us the pregnant moms. And what we do in our clinic is we do regular follow-up by doing blood tests. And when it's indicated on the children, what we do is we admit them for treatment for approximately 5 days. And during that time, the child is given medicine. It's called Suxamer, and the medicine will actually mobilize the lead in the body so that the child will dump the lead every single time they urinate. And in general, if we're lead poisoned, whether children or perhaps on the job or construction or we're painters or gardeners, if we have high leads, we also dump our lead. We get rid of our lead in our urine. And the children, as I said, they get tested and they get treated when it's indicated for 5 days. But during those 5 days, the lead level will drop to about half. So right now we're just looking at a lead level, a lead test result of 45 or greater. Now what's normal is less than 3.5. of whole blood. That's measurement. When the child has a lead of 45 or higher, there are no more clinic appointments. We do not need to track that child anymore. That child needs the medicine. So when the child comes in, after a week's time, we find that the lead has dropped a lot. But that's not to say that he will not be exposed to lead and that lead level is going to climb. It's just that at that moment, after treatment, the child will get rid of a lot of lead. Now, one thing that we collaborate with is our Department of Health. During the time that the child, those early days where the child came with a high lead, the Department of Health's lead inspector will go into the home to look for a lead source, because lead is in our environment. It invades our body. Lead is not something that we have in our body ordinarily. It's not like we have minerals. We have iron. Lead is something that's in the child's environment and it gets into his body. So the inspector wants to find lead source, inform the property owner where it is and how to get rid of it during the time that the child is in the hospital. But here in New York City, the reality is that there are other problems in the home as far as the conditions, so that the inspector not only goes in and looks for lead, it's hard to ignore all those other conditions. So usually what happens is that lead inspector working with the landlord who's working with certified lead carpenters, all of that can't be done within 5 days. So what we have here at the lead clinic is a little apartment building. We only have 6 apartments, and they're studio size up to like 2 or 3 bedrooms. And what we do is, if that work is not completed, we have the family come into one of those apartments. It's free, it's fully furnished, and we tell the family, come to us if there isn't a grandmom's place, if there isn't an uncle or an aunt who could take the family into their homes while the home is being de-leaded. The family can come to our apartments, and our offices are right in what we call the environmental safe house. So they have access to us in the all they have to do is come downstairs, and we're there all day, and we can deal with any number of problems that can't be addressed in those clinic visits. So during the time that the family's in the safe house, it gives the property owner, the inspectors, a little bit longer to complete that work, those repairs in the home properly. And the other thing that the lead inspector is going to do, not only return to the home after the landlord has notified, I'm finished, the inspector will go and look at the quality of the work, and then did they do the cleanup properly, those carpenters. So that lead inspector is going to do a dust sample, and they're going to analyze that dust sample to see the concentration of lead. If there's a high lead level in that dust sample, the child can't go home until it gets cleaned all over again. And then it'll be tested again. And then once it passes that inspection of the dust, then the family can safely go home. So here with our little 6-apartment building, we're very limited as to how many families we can help. But to our knowledge, we're the only safe house in the city, and our clinic, our program, is the only program of its sort. There are many pediatric clinics throughout the city, but we only do lead. That's all we concentrate on. So we're kind of the lead experts here. Something else that we try and do is our outreach. We always think of, we sit in the ivory tower here at the medical center, and we have a lot of services, and we do our research on lead. But we're not living with lead. The families are living with lead out in the community. And so we try and be the bridge to get everything we know about lead out there because the only way we're going to avoid having more children march into our lead clinic is by putting the word out of what to look out for, what to do, and what not to do. One of the things that the families tell us is that they've noticed that the child maybe has missed a few developmental marks. And so one of the things that we always try and look at is, and this is the social worker's job in clinic, she wants to talk to the parents when they report or it's noticed in clinic that the child has missed some, for instance, ability, low, they don't have enough vocabulary, but they're of age to have more. And so the parents will often request developmental assessment, and we can set that up. We don't have that here on staff, but we do have a number of contacts in the community, and they will refer the family to those centers for developmental assessment. And when the therapist reviews the tests, where it's indicated, they will speak with the parent about getting speech therapy or occupational therapy, physical therapy. So in our clinic, we're able to do a little bit more beyond the medical, although this is completely related. Our testing for the blood tests, we also look at the iron levels of the children. We're able to get enough of a little sample to look at that as well. And that goes to this small, but I think it's important, intervention is the nutritional intervention. And we know that more calcium and more iron in the child's diet will help the body beat the lead. So all children in general need calcium and need iron in their diet, but our lead poisoned kids need just a bit more. So that's something that is in the parents' kind of things that they have to do about this, is try and look closely at the iron and the calcium intake. And the anemia and the high lead, one doesn't really come from the other, but we do find something common amongst our children is, yeah, they have both. So that's another thing that we try and address and counsel about. The other thing that we like to do is,
Mary, I just wanted to interrupt because this is all great information, but
Yeah.
do you have anything that you can send us in writing that we can follow up on?
oh yeah,
We want to make sure we're following and that we're not, missing any important information or forgetting all the important information you're saying. Would you
yeah,
be
I
able
can
to
absolutely send
your-
it. Yep, I can do
Because
that.
it is valuable information, and just for our board members to know, again, we were talking about disparities that affect us. This is
Yeah.
definitely one of those issues that when we talk about our health concerns,
Yep.
issues we're seeing with our kids that have been exposed to lead poisoning, long-term
Right.
ramifications. And so
Sure.
we're very grateful that you came and presented, but we would want to invite you to come back and be able to be here in person, or maybe send us information that we can follow along as you're presenting to us.
I could actually do both. Yeah, I could definitely send you some of the literature that we use in our clinic, because this information is kind of the kind of stuff that the parents need to know about.
Great. So we're going to
I can
follow up with you
definitely
and
put
invite
them-
you to our Health and Human Services Committee, because we
Oh,
do need this
okay.
information.
Okay, definitely I
good?
could do that.
Thank
Yeah,
you so much.
I
We appreciate your
appreciate it.
time.
Okay, you take care.
Yes, please. Use your mic. Mary, we have a question.
Oh, where is it? Oh, sorry, yeah. Mary, I have a question for you. Are pediatricians under the law have to provide lead testing?
She
Oh, maybe that's a good thing.
was waiting. She was waiting for dinner. Dinner break. Okay, well, we thank Mary. We're gonna move on to the next portion of our agenda, the elected officials representative reports. Cynthia, I believe we saw you here in person.
Hi, everyone. So just to go over the usual, hi, everyone. My name is Cynthia. I am the Director of Constituent Services and Legislative Coordinator for Councilmember Riley's office. Sorry. Our offices are at 940 East Gun Hill Road and 135 Einstein Loop, room 44 in Co-op City. Our phone number is 718-684-5509. And our email is district12, that's district 12, at council.nyc.gov. I want to share with you some updates, and particularly a piece of legislation that I think the community board will be very interested in that passed. So introduction 906, which requires an agency designated by the mayor, an agency or office designated by the mayor by December 31st, 2024 to identify no less than 3 locations where off-street parking for tractor trailers, other commercial vehicles would be feasible and appropriate, and to offer parking at such locations. Councilmember Riley was one of the first to co-sponsor this bill, understanding that the current situation that residents in the Northeast Bronx are experiencing, where just tractor trailers are just parking within the community because they have nowhere else to park, and that this needed a change, really. And so there was kind of this issue where federal legislation requires truckers to get off the road after a certain amount of time, but they need somewhere to go. This would help alleviate that and alleviate the strain on our communities, and I'm happy to announce that it passed. So December 1st, 2024 is when we can expect to see some potential allotments on where this can be, and that the city has to take action on this. Thank you very much. And then I'm going to switch to the budget real quick. So we've been doing participatory budgeting, or actually very happy to be the first council member in the district to bring to participatory budgeting. The idea collection portion has technically concluded, but you can still put ideas for us to continue to keep in mind. And we are recruiting budget delegates. If you want to come help volunteer, help curate the ideas and help get the vote up. And you can do so at www.linktr.ee/Riley with a capital R, budget with a capital B. And yes, I'm going to hand these remarks over after. And then just real quick, our community events. We have a lot of turkey distributions and Thanksgiving events, so I'm going to speed run this. Tomorrow, Friday, November 17th at 1 p.m., we are going to have a turkey distribution at the Unity with Love Warehouse, 3369 Wilson Avenue, nearest the intersection of Wilson and Boston Road. First come, first serve, all supplies last. On Saturday, we're going to be having a pre-Thanksgiving luncheon with the Urban Wellness Network at Crawford Memorial United Methodist Church, 3757 White Plains Road. That is Saturday, November 16th, 11 a.m. to 3 p.m. The grocery giveaway is at 11, the luncheon's at 1. On Monday, November 20th at 5 p.m., we're going to be having a turkey giveaway in Co-op City at the Bartow Mall, 2049 Ash Loop. First come, first serve, all supplies last. And then regarding the distribution at the Northeast Bronx YMCA, that is full at this moment. So I want to encourage you to go to the other 3 events just to make sure that you get a turkey and some good food. Thank you. Any questions?
Yeah, the young lady right here just was concerned about the quality of life on White Plains Road with the fill. Now, during the road, so I know George addressed it, but I'm wondering whether Councilman Riley can do anything about fighting. What's the schedule? How often or do they plan? I know there's a budget cut, but
Yeah.
yeah, but the commercial strip tends to get a great deal more traffic than where I live.
Yeah.
So consequently, I would like to think that they would redistribute the efforts or redistribute your resources to take care of the commercial strip a little more than they would take care of my community. Will he be able to do anything or at least speak to someone?
Sure, and
regarding-
actually, so just to give you a little bit of background, So yes, there are some budget cuts being proposed to sanitation. We continue to try and use our discretionary funding to allocate additional services to the district, not only through the Department of Sanitation, but through community partners. There used to be the Wildcat Corporation that did a lot of these supplemental cleanups throughout the community, helping keep it clean. They decided to opt out of the program, and so we had the process of reassigning new vendors. So in that process, of course, government takes time. So we're going to be working with a couple of new partners on helping to restore that. But not only that, we're going to be working with the Mashalou Preservation Corporation. We just had a couple of volunteer cleanups the last couple of weekends. And in the spring, we want to bring those back too. So it's not an end all be all, and it's a continuous thing that we have to work on.
I have a question as well about White Plains Road and the filth. As homeowners, we're responsible for 18 inches from the curb. Does the same apply to store owners?
Yes, although there are certain business leases that tend to kind of cause some chaos in that. And so it then becomes between the shop owner and the property owner and them trying to bounce that back between the two of them.
Okay.
So that's why we want to have that holistic approach. And for example, like Mashalou Preservation Corporation, their support is the businesses and helping provide those supplemental services. So instead of just relying upon that potential conflict, we could just take care of the community as a whole.
No, I just wanted to know because a lot of these storefronts, especially from, let's just say Gun Hill Road to 219th or 233rd for that matter.
Yeah.
But from what I can see, further down, closer to Gun Hill Road, in front of those stores are filthy. They're filthy. So I just want to know, and I asked George recently about enforcement. Does anybody enforce anything for them? Because if in front of my house is filthy, then I'm getting a summons. So if the store owner should be subject to the same thing.
They often are, although of course there's always room for more.
I had a question about participatory budgeting.
Sure.
And I was wondering, this is a great, so just if you haven't done it already, look up this website. It's really great. There are a lot of ideas already for the district. My question was, does it matter like how many votes? Does the most votes win, or do they look at it in more of like a holistic sense? Like, hey, we can't do this even though it has 2 million votes. How does that break down?
So in regards to that, on the digital map, there's that like little like I support this feature. That one is not part of the official tally. Voting will be in the spring. And so those will have ballots that can be submitted. So part of the transition from the ideas being submitted to when they end up on the ballot is just because you can only fit so many things on the ballot, trying to prioritize the ones that are most feasible through the avenue of participatory budgeting. But part of the reason that I want you guys to continue putting things on that map is that even if it's something that can't be done in participatory budgeting, we can still advocate for it in other ways, other initiatives, through hearings, and just trying to find a ways and a means to get there.
Cool. One other point that touches on this issue with the White Plains Road is that a lot of times street sweepers, they don't have any tow support sometimes from the NYPD, so they will just have to bypass if there's double parked car or if a car doesn't move on the street sweeper day. There's the commissioner from DSNY has stated that they're trying to look into getting enforcement cameras onto the front of the street sweepers themselves, but that would require state law to be amended to allow that. But yeah, if there's anything that the council member could do for getting tow support in coordination with the street sweepers, that'd be really appreciated. Thanks so much for your time.
No problem. In regards to that, actually, the Northeast Bronx is going to be part of an allocation with the new class of police officers, is that there are going to be allotments to the Northeast Bronx. Actually, I did see a couple on my way here.
Yes, excuse me. Yes, Cynthia, I got a question.
What's up?
What happens with the cutting the budget for sanitation? What happens to the rat patrol?
So often there are specific initiatives. So with that being a newer initiative, they usually try to at least baseline the funding, but that negotiation is going to be an ongoing process from here till next June.
Okay, thank you. Number two, it's my understanding of the law as it states now, under sanitation laws, the building owner or the store owner is responsible for cleaning 8 feet from the curb into the street to keep it clean. So if that's so, that would cover the bike lane on White Plains Road where we have tons of garbage in because the sweeper can't get down there because illegally parked cars in the bike lane and NYPD just drives by like, you know, it's a visible bike or something, but that the 8-foot law should be enforced to clean in front of you.
I don't believe it is 8 feet. I believe it might be within inches and 18 inches.
18
18.
inches. Oh, 18, I thought it was, well,
I mean, if it was 8 feet, that's across the street.
even with 18 inches, it's still a better look than having garbage piled up along the curb line.
Yeah, and that's also why summonses, when they are done, are a means to try and get there, but also, again, like focusing more so on comprehensive services as
No,
well.
we hear from the community, store owners and the residents that the bike lane is filled. Is it? 100%. No doubts about it. I wouldn't ride my bike in the bike lane because I'm afraid I'd hit something and get flipped over. But the key is even 18 inches clean. It looks a lot better than, and if it was me that had the store and I was going to clean my 18 inches out, I would clean the width of the whole bike lane. But it doesn't pay to clean an inch when you can clean 12 inches.
That's always the goal. It's about getting all of us there.
Thank you.
No problem.
Tell Kevin he owes it.
You got a couple questions
Right.
this way as well.
Hello. Hello, it's not a question. I'd like to publicly say happy birthday to Kevin Rowley. And I'd like to congratulate you and your team for the great work you're doing in the elections. All right, congratulations. Happy holidays.
Thank you very much, and I'm going to show him the video after.
Yeah, I'd like to concur that also with Kevin Rowley. But one of the things everyone needs to understand is participatory budgeting. It is very, very good for all of the neighborhoods within this councilmatic district. It gives all of the residents a better sense of belonging. They can come up with different ideas and stretch those ideas out. You can learn something about your neighborhood that you do not know. Just give people that type of input. We just had that in Gun Hill.
Yeah.
And it was astronomical. It was quite a success. And it's something that you could see once you take part in it. All right. People have more of a sense of belonging and it makes them feel necessary. And we'll have twice as many people on our public gallery than what we have now because people are going to feel necessary and they want their ideas to be heard. So it's really something that all neighborhoods need to take part in. I yield. Thank you.
Thank you. And actually, real quick on that, I did also want to share that the Citizens Committee for New York City, which helps small groups, regardless of nonprofit status, to do community engagement initiatives. It's, I believe, citizensnyc.org, but it's the Citizens Committee for New York City, and they do microgrants for small community-based groups, again, regardless of 501c3 status. And they also have a neighborhood business grant to help and support some of these initiatives.
Great. Thank you, Cynthia.
Thank you. No more questions, right?
No.
Okay, I don't want to leave anyone out. Thank you.
Yes. Thank you. Kiara, you're next.
Hi, everyone. Good evening. I'm joining virtually. My name is Kira. I work for the Borough President. I just wanted to wish everyone a happy Veterans Appreciation Month. Thank you to all who have served. I also want to, I'm going to be brief, and I'm happy Cynthia took most of the questions. I understand, well, the Borough President understands the rollout for the cannabis distilleries and micro businesses and the CAURD applications has not been very good from the state. we had a meeting with the director of OCM last week who agreed to have a Bronx-specific meeting with district managers and chairs in 2 weeks' time. I think it's December 7th, just to go over specific questions that people may have. As of now, we have about 80 applications for the borough. Many of them are for the same address. There's a lot of confusion as to what next steps are, what the community board vote is. So I'm hoping, I think George and Beatrice will be there. I think it's important to bring specific questions that you have for your board. So please pass those along to your district manager. That's pretty much all I have to report on. We have some holiday events coming up. We have some Thanksgiving turkey giveaways. I'll send information into Ursula at the office. But I wanted to just wish you all a happy Thanksgiving. Does anyone have any questions for me?
No questions. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, everyone. Have a good night.
You too. Happy holidays. Okay, we're moving on next to Rachel. Did I say your name right?
Hi, good evening. My name is Rochelle. I am a constituent service liaison for Congressman Richie Torres. Some of the announcements that we have from last month and this month is that on October 25th, Congressman Mike Johnson was elected as Speaker of the House. On October 30th, U.S. Representative Richie Torres awarded $800,000 in community projects funding to New York Sunworks. On November 6th, Richie Torres also awarded $1,178,406 in community projects funding to Wildlife Conservation Society. Another announcement is that our office is still accepting nominations for Service Academy. If anyone knows any high school seniors that may be interested, they may contact our office and submit their application by November 29th. I will also be including in the chat some of the turkey giveaways that Congressman Richie Torres, along with Council Member Oswald Feliz and other elected officials will be attending throughout the week, and some are in next week. And the last announcement is that this Saturday, there will be a U.S. citizenship workshop. I will also include the information on the chat. It would be with Richie Torres staff and Council Member Oswald Feliz. It will be located at Fordham University, McShane Center, November 18, 9:30 a.m. to 4 p.m. Once again, that is for the U.S. Citizenship Workshop. And if anyone has any other questions in regards to any of these events, you may contact our office at 718-503-9610. Once again, that's 718-503-9610 for any questions in regards to any events or any of our services, which once again are federal agencies. That would include USCIS, Social Security, IRS, and housing issues. Thank you.
Thank you. I do have a question. As you know, this district's infrastructure is decaying constantly and deteriorating. Do you know if the congressman has kind of like advocated for that for this particular district, District 12?
I do not have that information currently with me, but I'll make sure to bring that on to our office and my supervisor, and then we will get back to you.
I appreciate that. Any questions? Great. We're going to move along. Anyone else that is online, elected official representatives that would like the floor? Okay, so we're going to close that part of our agenda, and now we're going to go on to roll call. Oh, wait, Alina.
Hi, good evening, everyone. My name is Alina Dow. I am the Bronx Borough Director for the Mayor's Community Affairs. I did just want to share two things. In regards to the parking, I was in communications with DOT, and I did put in a request for them to do a study regarding the angle parking. And I also talked with DSNY because I know that the street cleaning hasn't been able to come inside where the bike lanes are. So I am working with them to try to figure out how we can get a solution to make sure that's being addressed. So I just wanted to let you guys know that. And then in addition, I just wanted to share with you two things. The mayor did launch a plan to combat retail theft. As we are aware that this is happening throughout the city, and this is something that the mayor wants to sort of, work to tackle the best way possible. And I always like to say, please sign up for the mayor's newsletter. There's a lot of good things that are happening that the city does, and not too often does anyone get to report on it. So please, if you're able to, sign up for his newsletter. Pillar Awards. Our community is only strong because of everybody in this room and the people that are continuing to look out for us. Please sign people up. If you know there's someone in your community that's been doing something, the mayor has pillar awards for these people. We want to acknowledge them because we are better together. So I'll share with the board the link and ask if they can put it on their website and maybe out in a newsletter. Sign people up. We want to acknowledge people. Happy holidays to you all. My phone number, if anybody would like it, is area code 914-446-8393. And my email is A for Alina, D as in David, O-W-E as in Edward, at cityhall.nyc.gov. Thank you all. Have a good night.
Thank you. Okay, now we're going to roll call.
Good evening, everyone. Starting with Judith Benitez, present. Paula Basati. Patricia Boswell. Where Patricia? Michelle Bromfield. Victor Brown. Deacon Brown. Desiree Campbell. Sadie Campbell. Joan Claude. Beatrice Coronel.
Here.
Etonia Davis. Etonia Davis. Chris Devone. Chris Devone. Tolene Dickerson.
Present.
Denise Echeverria. Alfredo Figueroa. Carchica Fuentes. Johnny Goff. Darren Grant. Sheila Grierson. Sandra Gross. Sandra Gross. Robert Hall.
Here.
Carrie Ann Henry. Carrie Ann Henry. John Isaac. Theodore James. Keisha Martin. Keisha Martin. Robert Link.
Here.
Javid Malik. Aye. Udu Kolban Mark. No. Absent.
He's not here.
Thank you. Lucille Martin. Lucille Martin. Antoinette Mitchell. Clinton Mike. Carmen Ortiz. Carmen Ortiz. Wayne Palmer. Queenie Panganaga is excused. Reginald Paris. Ariel Peters. Anthony Reed, Sherry Samuels, Carl Sturka. Here. Benga Subea, Luke Sabados, Deborah Torado. Deborah Torado.
I'm sorry, here I am.
Yeah, I got it. Damon Tutine. Damon Tutine. Deborah Walker. Ryan Walters. Ryan Walters. Esther Yema. Thank you, everyone. Sorry.
Great. Now we're going to move on to the district manager's report. George?
Sorry. So just real quick. So we just had the mayor's office report, and I spoke to Alina, and not to shout her out. I mean, she's doing what she's supposed to do. But she spoke about the angle parking on White Plains Road. None of us asked for angle parking. The agreement when we agreed to bike lanes was that they would do what they were supposed to do. And it wasn't an agreement with us. It was an agreement with the the fire department, because they were concerned that they couldn't get their rigs to fight high-rise fires. So they created loading zones. And people are parking in the loading zones. But the significance of the loading zone is that the Department of Transportation put stripes on them. Now, those are safety stripes, meaning you're not supposed to park there. But people, and the NYPD, the 4-7, has said to me, oh, people don't know. And that's what Alina just conveyed, that they're reaching out to DOT to see if they can angle park on White Plains Road. And that's not what we agreed to. And when you want to speak to the community, this is the community board. This is the only community organization that is comprised by the city of New York with volunteers appointed by elected officials. We don't want angle parking on White Plains Road. The people who live in this district pay taxes just like everybody else in the city of New York, and we deserve sanitation, alternate side of the street, brooms all the time. And the Parks Department or DOT or sanitation need to figure out, are they going to run the brooms down the bike lanes too, or they're not? And right now, that's not happening. And the response shouldn't be, well, then we should just legalize what's already criminal. Because that's what's happening. And that, I got to tell you, I've been doing this, maybe I'm a little too long in the tooth. I've been doing this for 8 years. I've been doing this for 20 plus years. And it seems with every administration, we just wear people down and we become complacent with what's happening on the streets. We should not be making complaints about our White Plains Road looking like crap. That should never be the case, but we do, because sanitation is not doing their job. We should not be talking about double parked cars or tractor trailers parked on New York City streets. It is understood in the city of New York that commercial parking is not allowed overnight on any street in the city of New York, period. That's it. There's no discussion. So the idea that we have to revisit this, the city, again, I mentioned today that the mayor's put out his budget and there are significant cuts to city services. You know what low-lying fruit is? When you're running for office, there's a saying, oh, well, you go after easy money. You go after the low-lying fruit, which usually your family and your friends. You call them first. Hey, I need money. You call them. That's what low-lying fruit is. All those double parked cars, $50, $115 summonses. Real simple. Real simple. Meter maids galore. Have them walking up and down White Plains Road. Same thing with the trucks. Those are even bigger fines. Those are fatter fish. And right now we're a little lean. So again, low-lying fruit. I shouldn't have to say this. I didn't invent this. The wheel was already invented. I don't understand why we continue to do this and continue to make excuses for city agencies and to become even more complacent. But that's not even what I don't want to waste your time on that stuff. But again, this is pitiful. The fact that we went to DO, again, this wasn't we. This is not a we issue. This is, if I heard it right, and that's why I went over there to speak to Alina, the mayor's office is talking to DOT. I will call the commissioner tonight. We finally have a DOT commissioner after a 2-year vacancy. 2 years, we couldn't find the DOT commissioner for the Bronx. And I'm grateful to say that the commissioner that we did find is a constituent. He lives in our district, so I'm happy about that. But he already had a city job. He was the borough commissioner for the Parks Department in Manhattan. So they took him from Parks and they put him over here. I mean, you can't make this stuff up. I mean, he's great. Again, I love Anthony. He's great. I'm sure he's capable. But I mean, really, we got to do better. 2-year vacancy. We're accepting of that here in this borough. Anyway, good evening, board members, and happy Thanksgiving. Thank goodness I will be on vacation next week. So I want to wish you an early happy Thanksgiving. I apologize in advance for the length of this month's report, but we are voting on an important matter. And I hope you vote in favor of the executive committee recommendation to reduce the number of committees to 4. This is a subject I've spent much time considering because I value your time and my own. The vote was unanimous after a thoughtful debate. I hope we can achieve the same outcome tonight. Tonight, we are voting on the reduction of committees. Currently, Community Board 12 has 13 committees, if we count the general full board meeting. That's tonight's meeting. At our September full board meeting, I proposed the reduction of number of committees to the following 4. And I'm reading this. In the past, I've not read my full report because, I take for granted that everybody reads my reports, but there's a specific reason I'm reading it tonight. A, the Municipal Services Committee would hear all of the items related to city services. Concerns about service delivery from city agencies or the lack thereof would be the province of this committee. B, the Planning Committee would hear all items related to housing, zoning, ULURP applications, transportation infrastructure projects, and economic development items. C, the Public Hearings Committee.
Yeah, this is fine.
Would serve to fulfill our requirement of holding public hearings every month. Every community board was audited last year, and we were found to be in violation of the city charter requirement to hold a public hearing every month. Our full board meetings are not public hearings, as ruled by the Controller's Office. These meetings can be used to provide trainings
So this was
for our
already
board
here. You
members.
sure this didn't open up?
General
Like
board
this is not
meetings
a,
would remain the same as it is currently, with the minor exception that we will no longer take public testimony. These meetings would be open to the public, but public testimony would not be required. Our monthly public hearings would serve as the community's outlet to voice their concerns. At our executive committee held October 25th, the day before our October full board meeting, the executive committee voted unanimously in favor of this proposal. The vote was 12-0 to advance the measure to our full board, which we are doing this evening. I was very surprised to see the report from the executive committee because it was misleading. I hope you take the advice of the committee and vote this evening in favor of the same proposal. I've been open and transparent about the need to reduce the number of our committees. The work that we do here should not be trivial. While our role is advisory, the issues raised in committee are relevant and add value to the conversation. We've had several committee meetings since we've been back in person, and only 2 of those meetings had a quorum. Following those meetings, Ursula and I often hear from committee members about the need to do better. Our reality is that our committee structure is broken. Our committees are too small and do not meet frequently. We are violating our own bylaws. We have 1 chair for 2 different committees. One of our chairs cannot meet in person. Another committee meets on issues that are not germane to the role we play on the board.
No, you don't have to do that.
The structure
Just
I'm
turned on
proposing
before.
will be 3 committees that are comprised of 15 board members each. The full board is a meeting of all the board members. By increasing the number of committee members to 15, we can ensure that more board members are familiar with the subject matter prior to their arrival at the full board meeting. Secondly, by reducing the number of committees to 3, we can hold all of these meetings during the second week of the month. This frees up your calendar so you can be more efficient in planning of your life events. By reducing the number of committees, we can ensure that meetings are occurring
No, I may
regularly
need to take this shit
because
back.
each committee has a broader scope than what we have now. For example, our planning committee can hear all about city-related projects to housing or land use development and have greater context when making decisions instead of siphoning each of these issues to separate committees. Finally,
Yeah, he says you
raised the
put the
issue
2
twice
blacks
before and we've
together.
not brought it to committee yet. I'm
But-
proposing additional changes on how to structure our
Huh?
leadership on the community board. The City of New
Right,
York
one
voted in
black and one
2018
red
on
goes
several
to,
charter
this is
amendments,
take it off way
and
up
one of
high.
those amendments involved
That's
term
the way it
limits for
was.
community boards. The first round of term limits will begin in
That one was there.
2027,
What's this?
with the following round in
No, it's
2028.
nothing on that.
This means no one serving now can serve more than 4 2-year consecutive terms as a board member. To that end, I'm proposing that the executive
enough
officers
before.
and chairs be limited to serve as chairs in their respective roles for no longer than 1 term, 2 years. Moreover, executive officers should not serve as chairs of committees and vice versa. This would allow a wider pool of board members to participate in the governance of the community board. Also, it divides the responsibility of the board members equally. I'm offering these changes, but I am open to other ideas from board members on how we should be governed. I've been the district manager since August 2015, and while our leadership at the top has changed some, our executive officers and chairs have not. There are many reasons for this, but it is my belief we must force ourselves to keep evolving. In conclusion, today marks my 3,027th day as your district manager, or 8 years, 3 months, and 13th day of my tenure here. I am grateful for each and every day at the board. Thank you for your patience, and good night.
Thank you, George. What I want to echo out of this report is that it goes back to what I was mentioning at the beginning of my report, the fair share and how there are many disparities that are happening within our district, and what is dished out to us
Yeah.
is not fair. And so it is important for the new board members to keep in mind that your time here is very valuable and that each committee that we have here is important. For example, last week we had our land use meeting, which was about 2 hours. And then we had our transportation committee, which was about another 2 hours. So these are things that you have to keep in mind. And the reason that it didn't go longer is because it was nearing 10 o'clock and people wanted to go home, right? And so these are things that you have to think about as we go into the committee report and think about combining structures, new structures and combining committees, that it is time consuming. And the more that we combine, it means it's going to take longer, and the less time we will be allotting to each committee. So these are things that we have to keep in mind, okay? And so now we're going to move on, and can I get a motion to approve the board minutes for October 26th? Great.
Judith Benitez, aye. Carla Basadi. Patricia Boswell. I can't hear you. Michelle Brumfield. Victor Brown, not present. Deacon Brown. Desiree Campbell. Sadie Campbell, not present. Joan Claude, not present. Antonia Davis, not present. Chris Devone, not present. Charlene Dickerson,
Yes, I'm present. What is the question, Ms. Benitez? I'm sorry.
approval of the minutes.
Oh, yeah. Yes.
Denise Echeverria,
A lot can lose some more light, right?
can you
Huh?
please mute yourself?
Can't say shit, right?
Who,
I'm gonna take all this stuff back.
if someone needs to mute themselves?
Yeah, I'm gonna go now. Right here, cause I don't have to wait on no line.
You're still live wire. Please mute yourself.
You want something to eat? I can't hear.
Not present. Damon Tutine, excused. Deborah Walker. Ryan Walters, not present. Astaire Yama? Not present. Beatrice Coronel?
Aye.
Thank you. The ayes have it.
I'm back. Aye, Deborah.
Colleen, financial report.
Yes, good evening, everybody. I hope that all is well with you and your families. At time, I'm at the hospital with my sister, but I would like to give the financial report, which is that it is still the same at 2,660. The sunshine will be going out in time for the new year. Thank you.
Thank you. Great. Now we're moving on to the next portion, which is committee reports. First, we have the executive committee report. And so can I get a motion to accept the report? Great. Okay. And so
That's what I'm gonna do.
to accept the report.
Instead of going by roll call, I'm gonna do what, I'll take off of what we had in the other, oh, okay. Those who are in favor of the report for the executive committee? Okay, so carried. Thank you.
Yes.
I was at that executive board meeting. I'm one of the people that voted for this measure that we presented tonight. At the time, it looked like it was a good thing to vote for. But we had two other recommendations weren't even barely considered at that time. I think I would ask the board to vote in this favor of the vote that's going to be coming up for two committees. Because I think it should go back, and the other two options that were made available and not voted on, and George, calm down, that was not voted on. I think we should go back and have another meeting in January to straighten out if we really want only two committees. I don't consider the public hearing and the board a committee meeting.
George, you do not have the floor right now. You do not have the floor.
Yes, but I'm trying to avoid a mistake from Carl continuing to speak. You have a vote. You just unanimous consented to vote in unanimous consent for the motion. You passed the committee. You cannot retake up the new issue.
He can make a motion to table this so that the board has more time.
I asked
to
for
review.
more, George.
Table this report
I
and the
don't cut into
recommendation.
you, don't cut into me. I would,
Again, we'll take this up again.
I would like to, take this committee issue up again at the January executive board. And actually, the bylaws committee had no input into this. And it should have came out of the bylaws committee, which I chaired. But that's not the reason I'm opposing, because I originally voted for it. But on second thought, and hearing from some fellow executive board members saying they would like to review it again, I would ask that we vote this, vote it down so we can meet again in January, so we can come back to the board with, what the actual executive board feels. I thank you.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yes, good evening, everyone. I'm a little confused because I thought that what we voted on was the committee report. not the actual structure.
Correct.
That's
What you
correct.
voted was to accept the report that I submitted.
Exactly.
That was the first part.
And as per this report, it states that two other, whatever suggestions came in after the meeting and that we would get to see those. I mean, that's pretty much what I'm reading. And so I don't see how anything can be voted upon at this point based on the information that is here. My vote was to accept this report as it is. And if it's anything other than that, I take away my yay.
This vote was to accept the report. The next vote would be
Okay, but
in
we
favor
haven't
of that
gotten there yet.
recommendation. We're not there. Right now, what Carl is saying is that he would like to table the recommendation to pass so that you all get more time to review the other options that were presented.
Hold on. I wanted, again, this is why I'm saying this is the problem, and this is about integrity right now. We had a meeting. At the meeting, that was chaired by your chair. Now, prior to that meeting, in September, we were here and we voted to create a bylaws committee. And I went to your chair. There are emails that were sent to Beatrice. And I said, because Beatrice took this issue up at exec. And I said, no, I think this needs to go to bylaws. And we even had part of this discussion at the executive committee, but Beatrice said, no, we're taking it to exec. Now, the report that she put out is incredibly misleading because to your point, Deborah, that's what Beatrice wrote, but that's not what was voted on. What was voted on was the committee for force structure.
Okay, now you're being misleading, George. My report, and I can read it out loud. The executive committee meeting was held on October 26th in person. Committee members discussed various suggestions for the consolidation and new structure of the committees for Bronx Community Board 12. One suggestion was presented to the full board via a letter. What does that mean? George presented his option. He put it in his district manager report. You all saw it. The other two suggestions that came up in that executive committee meeting, you didn't get to see. You only saw his suggestion. That's what this is saying. I'm continuing. Please don't cut me off. One suggestion was presented to the full board via a letter that was sent via email. Two additional options were presented at the executive committee meeting on the 26th, which were not presented to the board as of yet. Below are the three structures that were discussed at that executive committee meeting. The executive board members voted to share suggestion 1 as a recommendation to the full board. A vote must be taken at the full board to accept this recommendation or vote to continue to explore the structure. It's not misleading. This is what happened. Yes, Luke.
I want to thank you for explaining that, and I think that we have some options here. I think everybody agrees that consolidation is the right move. I think we can get through this without, making any personal comments. This is a complicated process. This is very challenging for all of us who have jobs, other lives other than this. But I was wondering, Beatrice, if you have any recommendations on which version of the plan. I'm just curious, your personal point of view.
I do. And again, I want to go back to, there are a lot of disparities, folks, that are happening within this district. We have to be very intentional with our time here, with our committee. George is the district manager. He does have valuable input. Thank you for that, right? But even a comment that he made in his recommendation that stated that perhaps chairs or people that are here shouldn't be here more than 2 years. If we were to have that concept with the district manager to just be here for 2 years, that just wouldn't fly. The longer we're here, the more we understand what's happening, the more we're able to advocate. Many of us come here with passion and not expertise, and so it takes time to develop that. My suggestion was number 2. And yes, we do need to consolidate, but I do want us to also be mindful of the time that it takes to do our due diligence per committee, right? Last week, we had 2 meetings. Each one was about 2 hours each. If we go with suggestion number 1, that means that we can very well be here for about 6, 7 hours in one committee alone. So my suggestion would be that we continue to review. Yes.
On the mic.
Okay, just want to make sure I was acknowledged. Is there a current motion on the floor? No. Okay, so the motion that we voted on was to accept the report as it was.
Just to accept the report that was submitted.
Okay, so.
Not on the recommendation. We haven't
following-
gotten to that yet.
So following the acceptance of that report, what is the next step?
But
Okay.
see,
I'm sorry, Madam Chair, is that,
Explain why I recommend voting against. That I'm voting, recommended voting against it because the other 2 options were not privy to everybody on the board.
so that's a point of information, correct?
Yeah, but that's my reason for it. I believe every member of this board who gives up their time to come here and try to make the community a better place to live should see all 3 options and choose one of the 3 options.
Understood, sir. So that's your point of information?
Yes.
And we have received that. Madam Chair, what is the next step?
The next step is now we have to we make another, so he made a motion, right? At this point, we would vote. Do we want to go ahead with
So he
the
made a motion.
recommendation?
he didn't make.
just said-
Not
see,
yet.
But the point of order is that you can't, the committee report, I'm not an attorney, so you don't have to take my word for it. But we have 2 people here who have parliamentarian training that can maybe speak to this. We voted at the executive committee. The report that you're reading is misleading because there was a recommendation at committee. Carl and Carla came with a recommendation and it wasn't supported. Again, the vote was unanimous. There are board members who were at that meeting at exec. And again, our chair, Carl, Carla, there was no nays, there was no abstentions. It was 12-0 in favor to vote of the 4 committee structure. And specifically, the 4,
It was
it wasn't recommend.
We were voting on a recommendation to share this recommendation. And as a matter of fact, I did consult with the Borough Board's office and we are able to table this so that you can all continue to review.
I just need to be clear. When this board meets, you represent the full board, am I not correct?
The executive committee?
Yes. Don't you make those, you have those conversations and you bring them back to full board?
Yes.
So I don't see how anything could have been decided without bringing it back to full board. I mean, this committee
Agreed.
represents all of us, not just
No, see,
yourself.
look, but this is any committee, regardless of what the issue is. We have an economic development committee. And when economic development votes on a liquor license, they make a recommendation, yay or nay. That recommendation is brought to the board. The board then votes on that recommendation. We don't then table it or put amendments on it or try to change it up. We don't say, well, the guy came and we voted against it, but he has a different point of view.
I
that's-
consulted with
but-
the Borough
but let me
President's
just-
office and they said we are able, if somebody makes a motion to table and if you all vote in favor, it can be done, George.
I'd like to make a motion.
The key is,
Madam Chair, I'd like to make a motion.
Yes.
well, the key is that
Do I have the
we
floor,
we
Madam
can,
Chair?
Darren, we'll be right with you.
Yeah.
Darren, go ahead.
Has the issue.
Darren.
Madam Chair, Darren Grant, I'd like to make a motion. I'd like to put a motion on the floor. I'd
Go
like
ahead, Darren.
to,
I'm sorry, I couldn't hear you.
I'd like to make a motion that the board vote on the topic that was voted on by the executive board, that the board be able to vote for that topic right now.
So you're saying that you'd like to make a motion to vote
have a
on the
vote.
recommendation?
Correct.
And my recommendation on top of his.
We've heard your
I
point, sir.
support you, all right? But that you vote against the executive board's motion to go to two committees.
And we're not voting against, right? We're saying we need more time. If you're saying you'd like more time to continue to
Point of
review,
order.
you can.
Is it possible, because this is getting really confusing, could we put the breakdown on the screen so we can all see? We have that email. It was sent a couple days ago.
Yes.
With the committee.
My committee report. Yes.
We could just pull that up on the screen, share it, just so we can get an understanding. We can look at what the two suggestions were and
in the room because this is out of order. There's a motion on the floor. It needs to be seconded before it's discussed. So I don't know who the parliamentarians are, but this is out of order.
It's Carl Stricker.
Okay, so this is a little bit out of order at this point. I was saying the meeting it's out of order, so I was asking to. Well, this gentleman has a motion on the floor right now.
That's the only thing I can.
And now it's seconded, and now it needs to be discussed.
Which is fine, so he votes no. Votes no.
Okay,
No.
all right.
Is this another motion?
Well, Darren, he had placed the motion first.
That's why I asked initially if there was a motion on the floor, because I wouldn't have placed the motion on the floor. I placed the motion on the floor, and so that needs to be addressed.
You did not have a motion, Paul.
You made a point of information is what you made.
Exactly.
Darren Grant.
Okay.
Oh, I'm sorry. Which you want a Beatrice?
You want the committee report that shows the three structures. Luke, 1 second. Yeah.
And so if we don't feel like we have enough time, then we vote no on that motion and we represent it. That's the way this goes.
Yeah.
Can you restate your?
I would like to put a motion on the floor that we vote, that the entire board be able to vote on the motion that was approved by the executive board on the two committees, be our new structure.
The recommendation.
The
of structure.
recommendation.
Okay.
Correct. We are voting on the recommendation that was approved by the executive board.
Great. So just to clarify for everybody, right? Darren just put a motion, right?
Which was seconded by Denise.
And it was seconded by Denise. And so at this point, you all have the opportunity to vote in favor or not. And if you vote in favor of not, then that gives you the opportunity to continue to review. Is everybody clear? Yes, Luke.
So if we vote yes, is that voting for the committee structure that has?
The first one.
The municipal, okay. Okay, is there any way, because it sounds like there's a yes is a suggestion 1, no is just to table it. Is there any way to vote for suggestion 2?
Which is what?
Which is
No, you have to move.
No,
You have to move on
yeah.
the motion.
Right.
Well, just to be clear, that, hold on, we're just trying to clarify. Darren, your motion is for the 4 committee structure that I just spoke about. That was voted on by the committee, by the
Or
executive.
committee structure that was voted on by the committee, that was approved. That is the motion that I made for the entire board to vote on.
Let's go.
Right.
Suggestion 1.
Is everybody clear?
No. Okay.
Put this up for them.
Yeah, but
I
Do-
can put it on.
let me ask a question from everyone. Since we have a motion on the floor, and it was seconded about recommending a vote on what the recommendation was presented by the executive committee, can we go forward with that? And get that off the table before we go looking at screens and everything? That's the way it's supposed to happen. So, you know what I'm saying? So we need to, right now, I'm going to take a vote by person, not unanimous or anything like that, so that we can hear what everybody's feeling. Okay, are we ready? Okay. Chair. Vote on motion.
So the vote is to accept the recommendation of one, suggestion one, by the executive committee. Is that correct? Right. So at our executive committee meeting, right? We voted on suggestion one, recommendation, right? Number one. That's what we are now voting on. Is everybody clear? Right.
So for example, if the vote is unsuccessful, at the next meeting, vote for the four committee structure that George.
No.
No.
The board was presented with three options.
Right now, you were presented with the one that is the one that we voted on. There were others that were mentioned and suggested at that executive committee meeting. If you vote on the recommendation is for one, if you vote no, then you get the opportunity to continue to review the other suggestions that you did not see. Is everybody clear now, Bobby? Okay.
Okay, I'm getting ready to call roll. Judith Benitez, no. Carla Basadi. Patricia Boswell. Patricia Boswell? Okay, not present. Michelle Buckfield. Not yet. We're voting. I just marked you not present because you didn't answer. You said no? Thank you, ma'am.
Maybe we do like Congress and revisit it. She can call her.
Michelle Brom, I heard you. Michelle Bromfield? Michelle?
Yes.
Victor Brown is not present. Deacon Brown? What do you,
Brown?
what do you say?
Yeah.
Thank you. Desiree Campbell? Sadie Campbell is not here. Joan Claude is not here. Antonia Davis is not present. Chris Devone is not present. Tolene Dickinson, are you still here?
I sure am, and it's no.
Thank you.
Tolene, can you get on camera so it can count?
Gotta be on all the time.
Here we go. Do you all see me?
No.
You see your name and that's it.
Wait 1 second. Do you see me now?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, you see me?
Oh, my God.
Yes? Do you see me?
Yes.
Okay, and I said nay. No. Nay, no.
Denise Echeverria.
Yay.
Thank you.
Alfredo? Not present. I don't know.
In the
The
back.
bathroom? Okay, I'm gonna hold off. Just like. Kartika? Johnny Goff is not present. Darren Grant? Sheila Gerson? Sandra is not present. Robert Hall? Carrie Ann Henry, not present. John Isaac?
Yes.
James Theodore? Keisha Martin is not present. Robert Link?
No.
Javid? Mark is not present. Lucille Martin is not present. Antoinette Abstain? Thank you. Clinton Mike? Wayne Palmer? Wayne Palmer? Reginald Paris is not here. Ariel? Okay. Anthony Reed? Sherry Samuels? I got it. Okay. Carl Stricker? Bangus? Luke Sabados? Deborah Walker? Ryan Walters is not present.
Deborah Torrado is present. I didn't hear you say my name.
Esther Yema, not present. Beatrice Coronel?
No.
Okay. Is she here? Is she here or is she excused? One of the two.
I'm here. I just had lost connection before.
What is your vote, Deborah?
Abstain.
You abstain?
Yeah.
Who was it? Patricia Boswell, what did you decide? Thank you, Deborah. I'm sorry. Okay, Patricia. Alfredo? Alfredo? Well, you know, when it gets this long, what do you expect? Excuse me. I will not have that here. Alfredo? Vote on this, you can't recuse yourself. It's either abstain, nay, or yay. Okay, thank you. Oh, my God.
If a lot of us came to the meeting, then we'll have a better understanding of what's going on, right? We stayed there for hours, organizing, putting everything together. So to sit here tonight to say we only saw one presentation is disheartening to me. Understand? We spent a lot of time organizing, putting this together. The same thing, again, we had that land use meeting. We voted on a very important subject with this land use meeting, the CDA yes. Essentially, this is going to shape how our whole community is going to be in the next couple of years, right? Or actually in the future. So it's going to impact all our children, right? I don't see all the faces that were in there. Again, when we present that yes vote, you're going to hear the same thing again. Oh, I don't know about this. I don't know about that. I'm asking you guys to come to the meetings. It's very frustrating for me. I sat there for 2 hours and we organized this stuff with the public works. We went to the different groups. It's important that you guys understand the structure and how everything is being put together. So all this BS about you ain't hearing this, you don't know this, I don't know that, is nonsense. You got to come to the meeting. That's why you join the board, to come to meetings. All right, that's my only point. It's frustrating and to hear that I don't understand this. The reason when you get one side of everything, there was more to the whole picture, right? You seeing what it is. We came together and we struggled. This young lady was there for a while going over and she could tell you.
I was
stayed-
there, and my
Yes.
name is not added to this, but I was a person that did attend.
I'm giving you the count. Can I give the count? Do we have to have separate discussions before I can give a count? It is 17 nays, 10 ayes, and 2 abstentions.
May I have the floor, please? Yeah, I just wanted something, I saw something a little while ago, and I think we need to call these things out, and because we have to be respectful of one another. Carl had the floor, he was speaking, and George moved the mic towards him. He didn't say anything, George didn't say anything, and Carl made a comment to George, which I think was uncalled for. And I would ask that you withdraw it, please. I think we need to be respectful of one another.
Listen, I appreciate that, Ted. I'm a grown man. I take my lumps. This is not the first time I've brought this proposal to the board. The only thing is, you guys know me. I'm in this office every single day. You call me, I'm here. I have integrity. I don't lie to you, even when it looks bad on the community board or me personally. So when I read the report, and I'm aware of all the phone calls you had with Borough Board, and I'm aware of all the phone calls that you had amongst board members, because they call here. They call here and they say, oh, so-and-so's calling me. And I'm not saying this to betray their trust or anything. I'm saying this because we are trying to be better. What John just spoke about is the fact that only 11 people or 12 people were at that meeting. I'm proposing bigger. Basically, 15 people a committee means that a third of the board is at each committee meeting. We're also reducing the number of committees so that we're mindful of the fact that we're not meeting all the time. If you look at our current calendar, we have several meetings every week. Then you couple that with the precinct council meeting that some of our board members like to go to. Wakefield, Woodlawn taxpayers have meetings that people like to go to. There are a lot of things that are happening in the community. So that's what I'm trying to do. And I'll be back at it. I mean, again, I understand and I appreciate your effort, but I think that there are elements on this board that work against, and that's what's happened. That's literally, I've had 4 different chairs of this committee because people start whispering, oh, hey, and you got a misleading report. That's not what was voted. What was voted on at the committee was that the 4 committee structure. We're bringing it forward. What you just saw now was injection of confusion to lead to this result. And that's the problem that I have, because this is about your integrity. What happens at committee, especially if you're the chair, is you have to say it. A board member can't call you after the meeting and be like, oh my God, what did I just do? I didn't mean to vote for that. I didn't know what I was voting. That you're grown adults, all of you. It's your responsibility to read the reports that we send out, and I get it. We send out a lot of stuff. We send out tons of emails. It can be overwhelming. I'm trying to reduce that burden for you, and you won't let me. That's the problem that we're having. But again, I'll keep at it because I'm a grown man and I'm not going anywhere. Luke, and listen, I don't have a problem with 2. You think we're bad with a 2-hour meeting? You don't know what happens at other community boards. Their committee meetings are going 3-4 hours. And the only reason we're doing this now is because our last chair moved the meeting. We used to meet earlier, and they moved the meeting to a later time so that, you know, I guess to give people more time to get to the office. But you see who showed up here. We have 26 people. We have 40, we're missing 20 board members. I yield my time.
Madam Chair, I just want to back up something John Isaac just said about this thing that we're meeting again on, was it December 11th? Yeah, I want everybody to try to attend that meeting because this is a very complicated issue. And we're going to vote on it on December 14th. That's the night of the Christmas party. I don't want to come here to the board on December 14th when we're supposed to be celebrating the holiday season for everybody and have to stand here 2 hours explaining what the yes situation is. It has going to have a major impact on us. And the more you know about it before you come to the meeting, is the faster we can get done with business so we can continue with the party and those who are not going to attend the party can go home. And so I plead with you on December 11th, please make it to the board to listen to the continuation of the yes issue. And I will tell you, the whole 2 hours and a half that we spent at committee meeting that past Monday on the yes was listening to the proposal. So if somebody comes to you with a 2.5 hour proposal, you need time to let it sink into your mind. And you want to vote on this in a smart way, whether you're for it, against it, or otherwise, it's not an issue. You should know what they're planning for this community. Actually, the whole city, the city of yes, which I have my own opinions on it. A lot of good is in there, but there's also a lot of bad. And we're going to have to decide how we want to present the vote to the full board for their vote. So we made like 2 aspects or 3 aspects, so we want that to go yes. But there might be 5 aspects of it that we don't like, so we would want to vote no. But you have to have the option to choose what you feel would better this community and what will not benefit this community. So I would definitely take a look into that. And John, thank you for bringing that up. Right.
There was a lot of concessions made that night and a lot of explanations to the reasons behind why we're doing things. We've been I'm the chair of the transportation for some of the new people. And the transportation committee also meets with the public safety because a lot of the issues that we deal with transportation also deals with public safety. Also, the same thing, a lot of the stuff we meet on also deals with housing, right? It could impact parks. So all George was doing was saying, let's lump all that together and let's meet the same time because we are doing it any which way, right? And in that way, everything is condensed. And if there's an issue that impact one area, at least we'll be there to share our expertise and talk about it. So if you talk about the bike lanes, which was an issue that was a whole year last year, the bike lanes talk about transportation, public safety with the people crossing and all that stuff, the store frontage, how people move along, circulate, so it all is all intertwined. So, and sanitation, you see what I'm talking about? So we need to start looking at the bigger picture, right? And look at what's going on and try to consolidate and think about, these things. And a lot of these committees, people are not showing up. So how are you going to have a quorum and vote on issues when the people are not showing up? So it doesn't make any sense. Sometimes we have meetings and just the committee chair shows up. I'm serious.
No, it's true.
It don't make any sense.
Mayor.
If I may. I'm, one second. Did you look behind to see whether or not my hand was
I
raised?
didn't see. Okay,
It's not a problem. You want to
Thank
vote?
you.
Go.
Yes.
No, just briefly. This is going to be really brief. We sat here about 2 weeks ago and George made a proposal. And everyone sat here and agreed that we needed to consolidate, right? Everyone agreed to it. You had an executive committee meeting, right? The purpose of that was to iron out everything so that we could come here today and vote on it. That's my understanding. Correct me if I'm wrong. Wait. Let me finish. You now throw a ball in the water right now, created other ripples. You said there were 2 other proposals, which we didn't hear about. So of course, now I'm going to want to hear what those proposals are. But you were at this meeting where you all had this full executive meeting where you were supposed to iron it out and bring to us what the finished product was. So
And we did.
So
It's in the report.
But I'm saying Carl he threw something, he said that there were 2 other things there that we don't know about, but he thought that they should be proposed, that we should hear them. If we are going to determine how to go forward at the executive meeting, you're the guys who are running the show. You should at that time determine exactly what we're coming here to hear today and vote on it. We can't keep doing this because this is not effective. This is not efficient at all. And so that's a problem for me. I mean, if George is saying that, look, he's been here for 8 years. I've only been here for a couple of weeks. I don't know enough. Everyone you were saying that these committees are small, they're not efficient at times, not everyone shows up. So he's saying, look, we need to make it smaller so that it can be a little more efficient so this thing can work properly. And we can accomplish something, at least see in the next 2 to 4 years that I hope to be here, see some changes and see that the work that we're putting in is actually something that is tangible and we can hold on and say, look, we did that, we got that accomplished. But if we keep doing these things and having these conversations, long drawn out conversation all the time about what should be done and what shouldn't be, it's problematic. It's not efficient. It's not being done properly. So, I mean, I would like to come to a meeting and when the executive body has determined what we should vote on, that it's here. Here's what we're voting on. No balls are going to be thrown in the water where there are ripples. Just simply that this is what we brought to you and this is what we're going to vote on. And that's what I was here to do today, to vote on what the proposal was that you came to your committee with to say that this is how we should consolidate, this is how it should work, and this is how we should move forward.
Thank you.
I have a question.
Yes.
Now, when we had that meeting last,
Can you use your mic?
it's on. When we had the meeting the last time, and I was writing up the committees on the board, I remember that we said that we were going to have we were going to consolidate. That was our goal, to consolidate. I do not recall anybody saying this is the part what we're going to follow. We're going to go with 2 or we're going to go with 3. When we said that we were going to come back to the community board meeting, we said that we were going to bring back and table the idea to the rest of the community board to vote on consolidation only, but not which committees were going to be, paired together or grouped together. That's not what we voted on. We voted on just consolidation, which we agreed with George. We said, yes, we do need to consolidate because we have meeting all these times every week, and there's a lot of time that we're utilizing. But we did not specifically vote on which group or which ones will go into which. Because I remember when I was writing, erase this, put this over here, erase this, put this over there. And then we said, all right, now we will come back and we will see which groups or which committees will go into with the groups. And then I remember writing up at the top, municipal. I wrote up at the top and then I wrote planning, and you said, no, don't put that because we're not sure of what it's going to be called. So we voted to consolidate, which he's right. We do need to consolidate, but we did not vote on the specific committees which will be grouped together. That is what I remember because I was writing it down, and I'm writing and erasing at the same time.
Thank you. Yes.
I'd just like to say that when you present something that is contradictory, you can expect to get some questions for clarity. And I think that's what you've seen here tonight. There needs to be clarity. We understand that you've met, we understand all of that, but you gave us two conflicting documents. And I'm not a yes person. I need clarity. You want me to vote, give me some clarity. If I don't have it, I'm going to ask for it. And, you know, I understand that the executive board works. If you need us, I didn't know that we were expected to come to executive board, but I will definitely put it on my agenda to be at executive board. I thought the full board in my committee meeting was it, but if I actually need to come to executive board to have clarity, I will do that moving forward.
You should. These are public meetings. You're all invited to
That's
join
fine,
at
but
all
like
of
you
them.
said, we all
Yes.
have lives.
Yes, and
But-
just for clarity, I am a woman of integrity, and it is my obligation to make sure that we all work together and collectively. It doesn't serve me to confuse you all, but it is important that we do have these kind of processes where we are reviewing all the options. At the end of the day, once we leave, we want to make sure that we have a structure in place that is effective. Just like we were talking about the meeting last week, the land use meeting. We met once, guess what? We got to come back in December because we didn't finish and it was 2 hours there. It may be 2 hours again. And so we have to keep those things in mind. I agree we do need to consolidate. I agree that we do need a new structure. I agree that we need everybody's participation in all committees as possible, okay? So I'm not trying to mislead anybody. I'm trying to make sure that we get it right. And just because we vote on something doesn't mean that we can't see that there's room for improvement. Yes,
This is just a recommendation on.
excuse me, what was that? See, but that's disrespectful, George. The reason why the last chair left is because you and him were in conflict. I don't need that. We gotta be respectful of each other. I've never said that your comments
You
are
know,
bizarre.
I have to call this out because this is really inappropriate. When a chair brings a committee recommendation and the district manager just butts in and immediately says, that's inaccurate, that's misleading. And the vote on the floor tonight was going to put through your committee recommendation. And you sabotaged that process. I think it's very inappropriate to, if you have issues with something, you guys sent out that executive report. You should talk before it gets sent out, before it gets to the committee. And one other way we can make these committee recommendations a lot clearer is to standardize the process a little bit. We have the committee recommendation as the agenda item. Next, we go into questions about the committee recommendation. Next, we go into comments about the committee recommendation. And after all of those categories are done, then we can get into the motions. And I think that'll help kind of just get through this process, because when the recommendation from the committee came on the agenda, it was immediately kind of hit with questions and comments, and we need to organize it a little bit more. Thank you.
Sorry, can I have a question? Okay, so a couple of things that I'm seeing is that, number one, as you said, we get all these emails and nobody really can go through everything. We asked to have the proposals on the screen so we all could go through it. Thankfully, I was provided with the suggestions that we have spoken about, but a lot of times when we're meeting, what I'm noticing is that nobody fully remembers. Like, there's a majority of people who remember, but not everybody is looking at the same thing. Not everybody's going over the same thing. So I want to know, moving forward, because everybody has good suggestions, these are the same suggestions that you spoke about was the same thing that you said in the meeting. So to me, when I attended the meeting and we all spoke about these things, these disparities that were going to come up, the disparities are still coming up, and I thought when we voted, we were going to iron out those disparities. There's nothing that we're going to vote that's going to be 100%. So is this only going to be something that the executive board members are going to meet about and vote on and then bring to the general board members? The reason why I ask this is because I can see this becoming a back and forth. I could see this becoming more meetings than it's going to take to actually have more people on board, because Carl had suggestions and that's valid. Everybody coming to the floor is valid, but at the same time, when the way we call out misconduct, the way we speak to each other, of course, you're going to get a response. And at the end of the day, I don't really see too much. I'm not saying that people should not be disrespectful, but I do think that we have to be open to opposing ideas. So moving forward, when we're coming into this, is the executive board going to go over everything and present it to the general board? Because we have 50 something plus people and they're all not going to be here. So I could see another person that's going to say, hey, I don't want to nay on this. Like, this is it seems like it's going to be a continual thing. So I just want to put that out there on how we're going to go ahead of it. Again, we need to be open to opposing ideas, but at the same time, when we had a meeting and we discussed a lot of things, when it gets brought up again, it's kind of like, okay, now we're going back, because we spoke about some of these disparities. So it's like we can't go back and forth. We have to pick and choose the battle. And I'm confused on what the battle is. I know it's consolidation, but I just need to know what we're going to do moving forward.
Thank you. And the matters that come to the executive committee, it varies, right? But that's why we have different committees, different things that go to those committees. This came to executive committee. It could have gone to bylaws too. And so again, I'm learning as I go too. I'm not perfect. Neither of us are. And we're here to learn and improve together. But what I'm not with is bashing people or being disrespectful. We should have opposing views. That's how we're going to have a united front.
Yes, we all family here, and we all volunteering, it's around the holiday time, and just my concern is the conflicting of the paperwork. Y'all should be connected right there, like that shouldn't even ever happen, where both of y'all got two different things. If they voted on something, that should be coming to the floor. It shouldn't be no way that wasn't what we voted on, that right there, I think is out of order right there. Some kind of way, y'all gotta be connected right here. Like, you gotta say, this is what we're gonna, like, y'all need to look over the sheet together and say, this is what, and agree at that time. We should never, ever be on TV talking about something like this. Please forgive us, community, all right? But what I'm saying is it happens, we're all not perfect, but let's make it better for our community, all right? Because we are the community and we need to be representing the community, all right? And that's all I gotta say.
Thank you.
Madam
Robert?
Chair,
Oh, yes.
I just want to say, everyone here, we're all colleagues. And I want to be respectful for everyone. When I see a question mark in somebody's face, that needs to be dealt with. So we got to go back to square one and educate everyone so that we fully understand, all right, which was the motion that was put out here. But we all have to be on the same page. We cannot go forward until everyone on these tables are on the same plane. That's it.
Yes.
So I want to speak to what everybody seems to been saying here is that I want to say that I agree with you. I did not know that we were able to attend that executive meeting, but I want to mention one additional thing. I am not entirely confident that everyone will attend the meeting, and that happens. Sometimes people can't attend meetings. And again, look at how many people are in this room. It's not representative of the full amount of board members. So I wanted to put up a recommendation that is there a possibility for those executive meetings to be recorded in some capacity so that people can review them?
They are recorded.
Like film, they're video recorded? Oh, I've never seen, I didn't know that. They're not publicized. Okay, okay. Okay. All right, okay. I did not know that. See. Okay, thank you so much for answering that question.
Yes, Darren.
I want to wrap this up, Jeff. Sorry, I don't mean to hold up our time anymore. But we talk a lot about having the information presented and having everyone heard. I think as a board, we're doing ourselves a disservice if when the information goes out, you don't review the information prior to coming here. If you don't review the information prior to you getting here, and we have to spend 2 hours reviewing it, you're doing everyone here a disservice. I took the time to look at all the information that was sent, and I get everyone is busy. We all have extra things going on, but when you come here to have to re-explain and reiterate that is very time consuming. And that's what makes this go even longer, because if you have questions and you look at it ahead of time, we can address those questions in time instead of reviewing the document and then having to answer your questions. So I think we're doing ourselves a disservice if you don't review the documents that we're going to discuss.
Thank you.
Okay.
Viewed everything. That didn't come to the email. Okay. Yeah.
Okay. Yes.
Aside from all of this that's going on now, it's now 9:25. We have two more issues on the agenda, two more reports to review. And they're very simple reports. It's just approving the minutes of those two committees. If,
We don't need to approve any minutes.
You don't?
The committee report was sent out. We don't need to, this was just information. Hey, guys, the Transportation Committee met, okay? The issue brought before the Transportation Committee was just an informational session from Department of DDC, Department of Design and Construction, just letting us know what was going on. I put a summary together. It's in the report that was sent out. It was about some sewer and water line replacement on Mundy Lane. I don't need to touch it again in meeting unless we have a vote or issue that we got to vote on or a letter of support. So that's it.
and does it stand for the Land Use Committee report? Okay. Okay. Yes, answered my question. Thank you.
Again, come out to the next land use meeting. It's important. CDA, yes. What is a CDA, yes?
Please come to the land use committee because, like I said, it's a lot of stuff involved in it. And when we have the Christmas party on the 14th, where we have to prepare it to the board because city planning has to have the letter by January 4th. So we have to vote on it at the Christmas party. So it depends how hungry you come to the Christmas party, how long you would have sit there and listen to what happened on December 11th. So it behooves you all to come to the meeting on December 11th.
Please review the email that Ursula sent with the presentation and the information for that. Great, okay. Any other questions before we take a motion to close?
Yes. Where do we stand on the consolidation?
The motion did not pass, so we will continue to develop the structure and present it. Can I get a motion to close?
So moved.
Second.
Who first?
No, she was first.
First?
Yeah. Denise Echeverria, motion to close.
Okay, so we're now closing at 9:32 p.m. Thank you. Yes.
Happy Thanksgiving, everybody.
Happy